I have a theory this year. I can't explain past years. I mean, they do it in past years too, but this year they did it a lot. And that is, it's a down draft year, right? So maybe the Patriots think, well, it's a down draft year because the guys coming out of the big schools don't rate like they do in years past. But no one takes as close of a look at the FCS schools and the Chattanoogas and where's the running back from? South Dakota State, whatever. It's like, so maybe that was their rationale there. The reason it's considered a down draft class is because people don't take as close of a look at the small school guys, and that's where the sweet spot is. So let's take the small school guys.
So I have less of a problem with some of the reaches than I do with the positions. Like I told you, I didn't love a guard in the first round. This kid might be able to play. Hey, there's every chance he can play. I mean, again, a lot of the reports and measurables on him are good. So, but a guard, that's what you're going to do? The receiver, I couldn't tell you whether he could play or not. I'm okay with them taking it, though. I'm a little pissed they didn't take a linebacker. I'd have preferred that instead of the Land of Lilliput playing in the secondary, 5'8" and 5'9" defensive backs. Who's going to be out there next, me and Sosi?
Kevin in the truck on the Pats. Hi, Kevin.
All right, so since we took a quarterback right in the draft, do you see maybe in the future, not right away, I have a theory, maybe Brian Hoyer steps into like the OC position. He's already playing. I mean, he's already like on the team for.
Hey, Kevin, I got it. I'm just gonna cut you off. I maybe, yeah, I guess. I wonder why people are interested in that. Like I hear it all the time. Like, yeah, okay, go ahead.
No, because it would explain a lot of the nonsense that's going on with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia and a 6-foot quarterback in the 4th round.
Okay, so maybe it's Brian Hoyer eventually, sooner than later. Okay. Now what?
Well, so let me rephrase.
Discuss 617. Right. I mean, like, what? Where do I go with that? I mean, really? All right, so it's Brian Hoyer. Do I feel any better or worse? I don't know. I guess I'd rather be Brian Hoyer than Joe Judge. I'd rather be Brian Hoyer than Matt Patricia. But I don't want Brian Hoyer either. Can I get a real offensive coach in here? But
they're trying to rationalize and justify. That's what people are trying to do.
All right. I mean, okay, so it's Brian Hoyer.
No, I'm not telling you I like it.
Paul's in the car. Are you there? Okay, he's obviously got us on hold.
Doesn't like Hoyer either.
I know. Who does? Here's Adam and Lowell. Go ahead, Adam.
I like Hoyer.
Hey, guys, Felger, by the way, it's always a down year when the Patriots draft because Bill's in charge of the board, but I'm just terrified. We're back to the old drafting ways. I mean, I can't take anymore. All the guys are old and they're reaching at little schools. Like the wide receiver, yeah, he's quick, but if you look at the combine, his lateral speed where you need to like run routes sucks. I don't know. It's just depressing. Thanks, guys.
So it's, it really goes back to, do you have faith in the people making the decisions? Because you don't know. I don't know. The only thing stupider than pre-draft analysis is the immediate post-draft analysis. Boy, is it dumb over the years. I'm sure we could go back a couple of years ago, the N'Keal Harry draft, where they went N'Keal Harry, Jawan Williams. I bet you if we look for draft grades, A-, B+, the Mel Kipers of the world, the McShays of the world, the our lads of the world grading the draft, Patriots A, Patriots A-, and their draft absolutely blows. So now everyone's giving them Fs and Ds, and they said they have a bad draft. No, you have no idea. No one has any idea. Freaking stupid. So I have no idea if these guys can play or not. None. The only thing I can tell you is what's my confidence level in the guys making the picks. It's low. That's all I can tell you. Maybe this kid can play. Maybe he can't. The receiver, there were 11 receivers, Maz, taken in rounds 2 and 3. 11. 11, and really, if you look at it this way, when the Patriots were on the board at 21 before they traded, from that point, there were 11 receivers taken until you got to the 4th round. 11. Okay. And you took one of them. What's your confidence level that you picked the best of the 11 or even be in the top 5 of that 11?
Or the worst of the 11?
Right. What's more likely given their track record?
The worst.
That's all I have to go on.
Yeah. So again, look, how I feel about this. That when it comes to that position, they've whiffed over and over again. How can you possibly have confidence in it? Now, look, at the same time, it's not like Bill's a complete idiot. I know people talk about him like he is, but he's not. So, sure, there's a chance this kid can play.
So, look, John Mechie went at 44. Texans traded up and nabbed him. Maybe that was your guy. I don't know. Mechie went at 44. Your Tyquan Thornton went at 50. George Pickens went to Pittsburgh at 52. Alec Pierce went to Indy at 53, and Sky Moore went to Kansas City at 54. 5 guys. Just put those 5 guys in a blender. 5 guys on a list. What's your confidence level that the Patriots picked the guy?
Less than 20%.
I mean, I just like that's. I don't know how else to look at it. Should be happy drafted two running backs, but that's another one. It's like, well, it's a down draft. Let's say all the players in the draft class just sucked. That's a good time to pick running backs. Then what's the diff? You know what I mean? If those are just if the draft picks this year have been devalued and they're not worth much because the class isn't much, you might as well take a running back because they're not worth anything anyway. So, like, I'm not getting hot and bothered about the quote unquote reaches or the post draft grades. I don't, we've been at this long enough to know that those post draft grades are just about as dumb, if not dumber, than the pre draft analysis. The number of A's and A minuses Belichick gets coming out of these weekends that turn into absolute nothing dog food is just, it happens every year. So now Belichick is getting D's and F's and C's. And so, like, they're going to be no more right this time than they would be before. No one knows.
Still, it's never been universally panned like this before, their draft. I've never seen anything like this, where, like, all of these prognosticators and draftniks look at this and say, no, this sucked. Bill doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
So either Bill is way smarter than all these people, or these people are better than Bill. The scary thing is, I'm not sure what to believe anymore. I'm not sure.
With good reason.
These guys, the draft prognosticators, might be right. I don't. In other words, when it comes to the draft, I don't trust Bill any more than I do Sharp Football or Our Lads or any of these guys. I don't. Why should I? And especially with the Matt Groh thing now. And although I didn't mind Matt Groh's post-draft analysis, I thought he was a little scrappy, actually, or, angry nerd. I just don't trust him. But Jim's right. I mean, Sharp Football listed the most overvalued picks in each round. Biggest reach, in other words. First round, Cole Strange. Second round, Tyquan Thornton. The biggest draft reaches in both the first and the second round in the entire draft were your guys. Let's see. USA Today, draft grades. New England Patriots, D+. Time was you didn't question anything Bill Belichick did in the name of the Patriot way. Time is, well, Bill hasn't won a playoff game for New England without Tom Brady, and even before Brady's departure, his draft record was spotty at best, especially at receiver and corner. But the Patriots took speedy Baylor wide receiver Tyquan Thornton in the second round, followed by cornerback Marcus Jones in the third and Jack Jones in the fourth. A need clearly existing after J.C. Jackson left in free agency. Beyond that, the first round selection of Cole Strange, a very good player by most accounts, also seemed well strange and perhaps quite premature. Kuiper said on Thornton, the Thornton pick, in round 2, there were several better wide receivers available when New England took Tyquan Thornton at 50, who didn't even make my list of the top 25 wideouts in the class. So there was a time where I'd say Kuiper doesn't know. I'd take Bill over Kuiper any day of the week. Would I say that now?
No way.
I mean, I don't know. Toss up. Maybe Kuiper's right. Maybe Bill's right. I mean, that's just the track record. So, like, that's just where I come from. And it'll be fun. I do. They traded up, Maz, from 54 to 50 to take this Thornton. And Pittsburgh's sitting there at 52. And Pittsburgh has had great success taking receivers, right? Like, that's one of Pittsburgh's strengths, coming up with the receivers every year in the draft. You think there's any part of there's a part of me that says, well, you know what? You know what the Patriots just did? They jumped Pittsburgh to take their guy.
Yeah.
They probably said, you know what? That Thornton kid is just a Steelers kind of guy, blazing fast, pure athlete. Why don't we just do what the Steelers would have done? We'll jump him and take their guy. Now, maybe he's not as big as a typical Steeler guy. I don't know. He's rail thin, only 6'2". But I wonder, what was the calculus there? Because there was a run on receivers. Pickens went to Pittsburgh at 52. Pierce went to Indy at 53. Sky Moore went to KC at 54. And you jumped them all with the guy that wasn't supposed to even be there, Tyquan Thornton. Are you smarter than these other teams? Or are they smarter than you? What do you think?
Well, maybe they did have some intel with Pittsburgh because, again, they sort of profiled it and they said this is the kind of guy Pittsburgh get. That's a sound theory. I mean, it is. It's something like that. The thing that I just find a little odd is that it feels like an Al Davis kind of move. Al Davis was notorious for just getting the fastest guy in the draft, whether he could play or not.
But I can't complain. I said I wanted speed.
Well, sure.
And this Tyquan Thornton tested out as the fastest receiver on the draft board.
So of all the picks they made, that might be the one I have the least issue with.
And the running back that they took, I don't know if it was Strong or the other running back, but one of the two running backs had the fastest 40 time for a running back.
Correct.
On the board. So you came away with the fastest receiver, the fastest running back, the returner, the corner, who's also a returner, the Marcus Jones kid, who's the best returner in the draft. So it's like you did draft speed and playmaking. I really can't complain about that. We'll find out in time if they were the right picks or not.
Do they feel like Bill picks?
No, not historically, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you say the wide receiver's like a Raiders pick. Well, it's kind of like a Bethel Johnson or Chad Jackson pick to me.
Well,
like those guys were fast.
Yeah, maybe. But, the Raiders were just notorious for getting the fastest guy in the draft.
Yeah.
That's all. That's really all I mean. Part of me just wonders, like, how this all went down. The first round felt like a Bill pick. The next few did not. So, like, and then, I also look at it and say, well, Bill talked after they picked Strange, but it was Matt Groh after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the weekend, yeah.
So, and again, I'm none of this may be related. And, so you can look at me funny. It's fine. But did Bill get the first pick and then Matt Groh get the rest, or like what?
Jimmy, do you have something?
When ESPN cut to the Patriots war room right before they took the wide receiver, it was Matt Patricia, pencil in mouth, and Jonathan Kraft walking behind him as they're making the pick, and Patricia's on his cell phone. I'm convinced that Patricia and Matt Groh made every pick 2 through the end of the draft.
Trade down to 29 for the guard from Chattanooga.
But that doesn't get you excited.
I just, woo-wee! Look, I don't know what to tell you on that. I don't know if the players can play or not. Like, that's not. Maybe the silver lining is this. Every year it seemed Bill Belichick coming out of the draft got an A from the stupid post-draft grading. A minus, B plus, A minus, A. Bill nailed it. Manipulated the board perfectly. And then 2 years later, we're sitting here going, N'Keal Harry and Jawan Williams was an A? They had it all wrong.
No, but he always got the benefit of the doubt because of who he is.
But they always got the grade wrong.
Yeah.
This year, they're crushing him. This year, the Mel Kipers and the draft graders of the world are D, C minus, D minus, D plus. That's what he's getting. So maybe they're as wrong in reverse that they were wrong with the A's in 2019 and et cetera. That's the only.
Or it just goes to show you the shine is off Belichick. Because I find that surprising that universally, like all these prognosticators, all these draft nicks are like, this draft sucked. And normally no one talks bad about Belichick. So maybe they were like, well, how I am, like you're kind of not much without Brady. And they're like, okay, the shine has come off him a little bit. We're going to be more critical. I find that very telling.
I think there's something to that. I do. I think that people look at it now.
He's lost his aura.
Yeah, well, also, they've also, as an organization, they've lost their standing. Because if you look across the conference, all these moves happen where all these teams are better than the Patriots now. Nobody talks about the Patriots being in the playoff mix. Then draft night comes. The Patriots didn't do anything in free agency. Then draft night comes and go, what the hell's Belichick doing? I think it's all connected.